to kindly take over the session.
Thank you, Akram. Now, this will be the 15th in this series of web summits. We call it web summit because here we have experts, enlightened experts who come and give knowledge, who come and give their expertise, who come and see how the India and the globe can go back and exceed its past performances and expectations. As we all know, COVID has really beaten us to the pulp throughout the world, every portion of the world, every part of the uh, countries, and various aspects of the economy. Now, this is a very, very special show because here we are working along with the Australia India Business Organization, whose chairman is right here, Ravi Ragupathy. And he has brought a highly enlightened, successful businessman from Australia, a businessman with the heart on the ground, with as a first-time businessman, and then doing some exceedingly good work. And he is an Indian, Australian, Australian Indian, because we as Indians, wherever we go abroad, we are there. We are there for the country's growth and as well as for India's growth. So we have Robert Brij, who is a speaker along with Ravi. Now, what I will do is I will run through some presentation so that we are having a hello.
Yes, sir. Please share your screen so that we can see your presentation.
So one minute.
So Dr. P. Sekhar will present a detailed presentation about how and where, in which sector, in which area, India, Australia can explore further in terms of this. So welcome, Mr. Ravi, and welcome, Mr. Robert. So nice to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think presentation is ready.
Yeah, I think we can see the presentation.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, this is post COVID-19 devastation, enhance the role of India Australia business development for national incarnation. The nation is both India and Australia. So, here we are trying to bring to the ground what is India, what is Australia. This is the facts of India and Australia. As you can see, in terms of area, Australia is double India's size. In terms of population, every year we produce one Australia. Australia has 25 million and we produce 25 extra Indians every year. Okay. In terms of density, Australia has 464 per square kilometer. India has 464 per square kilometer. Australia has 3 per square kilometers. Of course, in other areas, Australia is absolutely good. In terms of urban population, Australia is 75, we are 35. And in terms of literacy, Australia is 99. And where that 1% gone, I do not know. But India is 74. And so many factors are there between the two countries, which are all enlightening and which all will give us the reason why India and Australia, when they combine, they will make a devastating combination. Because here is a country which is double India's size, but at the same time, population is hardly 0.2%. So, and full of prosperity, full of various aspects of growth, which is there in Australia. And there are common points. Lots of Indians have gone there and brought Australia into a different dimension. Australians themselves are highly enterprising people. So between the two countries, there is key growth sectors. We have said right from education to agriculture to mining to healthcare to infrastructure, tourism, and sports. Of course, is binding both of us, especially cricket, which we and Australia generally share a common goal and common set of viewership and highly enlightened viewership. Education is some area where both the countries can do a huge justice to the two people. Many of the successful Australian Indians have gone there for education and have got a good name in Australia. And there could be a huge enhancement of education because India does need a different educational uplift. Then agribusiness, Australia being almost twice India's size in terms of area, has got a huge business in Australia, and also with things like Ayurvedic and other things coming in, there are new growth of business which is possible because they all have to be gone on the ground, and there is more space in Australia and more green space, and normal agri business plus medicinal agri business will form a huge uh, scope for business. And mining is another area. I will not go into detail of each. Healthcare is something where India can contribute heavily because in pharma, India is far above Australia in terms of its R&D, in terms of its capability to manufacture, in terms of setting up facilities, and even on medical, we have got quite a huge number of medical force. There also India can contribute as much as Australia can contribute in education and few other sectors. And infrastructure, both countries can have a mutual benefit. And here I have today a very big expert in infrastructure, that is Robert, and he is doing fantastic. When I introduce him, you'll all know what sort of success he has achieved. So in infrastructure, both countries can do on each other, bring the best of this thing. India has got some of the best infrastructure development companies, and also we can take infrastructure because we got hundreds of smart cities coming, hundreds of port areas being developed, hundreds of development in tourism sector, and so on and so forth. Tourism is again a mutually beneficial portion between the two countries. India, as you know, has got more than 3,500 major tourist resorts and 3 million minor tourism resorts. There are more than 2 to 2.5 million religious tourist places itself. We've got rural tourism, religious tourism, agri-tourism, and you name it today, there is so much thing to be done. And same way with Australia, with so much of this thing, Australian forest fire tourism itself is something which people like to go and see. And Australia is Australia. It has got so many things to be seen. And sports is something where both the countries are doing something extremely good. And especially, as I said, in cricket. And other sports also can have a huge, and some of the stadiums in Australia are the best in the world from various angles. We all know about it. And I would not go into the detail. Now, between India and Australia, we have got some of the important export statistics between the two countries. And oddly, India exports less and imports more. So this balance has to be brought with the other new areas which both has to do. Because partnership goes only when there is equality in both. And there are enough things with our Indians going there which should balance the two countries and make both the countries go into a multi-dimensional. In fact, what I mean, it should not balance means it should not become the India and they are same. Both should go higher, and that'll be the benefit between the two. And many Indian companies have set up base in Australia. They have invested in Australia and set up base there. And same way, many Australian companies have set up. It's a beautiful relationship between the two countries where both have done justice to all. And here are some of the cooperation agreement between India and Australia. And here is the Prime Minister of Australia with a favorite Indian dish called samosa. And they got an excellent relation at the level of Prime Minister itself. And here is our Ravi Ragupathy, the chairman of, I brought in specially in one of the slides, a handsome young man who is doing extremely good, about whom also I will talk and introduce him in another few minutes. So let me come back to the main screen. I've stopped sharing. Yeah. So now, with that short presentation, we have an idea. Because why I did this presentation is, as per Ravi, this is going to be a series of, twice a month summit, and where we hope to bring India and Australia on a firm footing. And Robert has agreed to be the first speaker to put the groundwork for many more to come. Because we need an enlightened person to start. There were many in the queue, but finally, Robert was the best because he's a successful first-time entrepreneur, and he has got 20 million square foot of all the, maybe, or not all, I would say, most of them are Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, a successful first-time entrepreneur, and a person who has made a life for himself, a name for himself. Prime Land is a group with which he is known, and I would now request him to share about his success, about his company's success, about anything to do about his personal this thing, and how post-COVID, COVID has brought the whole economy down. There is no point in talking about it again and again. But post-COVID, because it is now going out. It is now going out. It is on its way out. But all the experts say, what is this COVID? Why are we making so much? It is number-wise, doesn't matter. But for whatever reason, it has just hit us badly. It is a World War III with an unknown thing which is hit all of us. So we have to somehow come out of it. And there, what is his strategy? Now, I also came to know that he is operating not only in Australia, he is operating in many countries, including India. How he is going to grow and how he is going to make a name for himself, and also make the Australia-India relationship to a multifold, to a much, much more successful and much, much more enlightening for both the countries, especially post-COVID. Robert, please.
Thank you, Dr. Sekhar, and thank you, Mr. Akram. Thank you, Ravi. I feel fortunate to be here, sharing my ideas with the panel and also the viewers. It's been very interesting times, what we are facing right now, and I think there's, with any sort of problems comes a lot of opportunities. So, I really believe that there will be a lot of opportunities heading India's way, especially now that we're talking about India and possibilities in India. So just a little bit about ourselves. Primeland has been in business for last 20 years, and in Australia, I'm very proud to have my Indian heritage. I was born in India, left at a very young age, went to UK for a couple of years, did my schooling and my undergrad in UK, then came down to Melbourne. I did my MBA from Monash, and I was very fortunate to be in the right kind of right company. And I think company makes all the difference. If you hang around with right kind of people, you know you do get some amazing results. And I've been very fortunate. Having said that, India has a very special place in my heart, and I really want the country to prosper. And as we all have been told that India, at some point of time back in past, was known as the golden bird, and I think that golden age of India is on its way, and I think that is for surely that'll happen. So, just giving a little bit about work-wise, where Primeland is involved. Primeland is involved in a number of commercial and industrial sites. That's our forte. We have been acquiring a lot of assets from Australian Stock Exchange listed companies. We actually just help them to get rid of some of the assets from their books. Usually, companies when they stop their operations and they move their operations overseas, that's where we come in and then help them to get rid of the assets from their books. We have acquired assets from likes of General Motors, PepsiCo, One Steel, BHP Billiton, and a few others, to name a few. Having said that, we are also involved in residential space. We have a couple of apartment sites which are on. That is just out of passion, you can say, because we like the idea of coming out with something nice and boutique. And some of the top architects from Melbourne are actually helping us to come up with some really good landmark sites around the city. So that was just a bit about ourselves, but coming down to why we are here to discuss prospects of India moving forward. Absolutely excited. We have been dealing with a lot of large funds from both Singapore, Hong Kong, and US. And whenever I'm having a discussion with any of these fund managers, there's always a topic which comes up, which is about India, the next wave of opportunities coming out of India. If you look at what is happening, geopolitically wise, there's a lot of negative energy, and there's a bit of a stress in terms of relationship between countries like China and India, China and Australia, and China and US. So China seems to be a common, for some reasons, China is one of the common factor when it comes to what is happening around at this point of time. That actually means that India, if the country starts to really take steps towards opening up, towards coming up with, reforms, I think it's a brilliant opportunity for the country to really showcase itself as a business friendly destination. And there will be no dearth of investors and people like myself who would definitely jump on the opportunity and really make, there is no comparison. Very frankly, there is no comparison between the market size of India and Australia. I mean, we are like a drop in the ocean as compared to Australia, as compared to India. Sorry. Um, as you rightly pointed, that India is producing one Australia every year, which is that defines how big the market is, and that's a huge it's a huge factor when it comes to assessing opportunities in a country like India. So what is super important for us is ease of doing business. When we can really come and get things moving at a steady pace, if we can actually have, when it comes to dealing with the government, if that becomes easier, and joining right kind of private players to make certain projects a reality, I think that is super key. That is a super important factor for anyone coming from overseas. Although we are doing a fair bit of projects in India too. We have some uh, an industrial site in central India called in a city called Nagpur, very close to a business park, which is Mihan. Mihan was designed by the state government to, it's a multi-mode international cargo hub. Us being part of logistics and industrial assets here, we thought that was a great idea. So we have a substantial piece of land in Nagpur. We also have some land holding in cities like Pune and Mumbai, again, commercial and industrial sites, which we would like to just take it forward. I mean, they are moving forward. We are in some design phase right now to come up with a product for the local market. We also see that the Make in India concept from Prime Minister Modi, I think that's a fantastic opportunity for the domestic industries to grow, and there will be a huge demand for infrastructure. I think there cannot be any better discussion, any topic, but about infrastructure when it comes to India, because infrastructure is the base. That is the foundation for companies to really stand on and country to really move forward. When it comes to road, railway, business parks, logistics, everything boils down to infrastructure. So coming from a real estate background, I think that is super important. Road connectivity is important. Flawless connections with road and railway, and the air services too. I think that is an important factor when it comes to uh, any sort of infrastructure project becoming super successful. So the bottom line, I think you have, it's in front of us. Infrastructure is the foundation for the country to move forward. And I think if the government can come up with policies to make sure that infrastructure is not having any, the projects don't get hindered and they don't lag behind, I think that will make a massive difference in terms of foreign players like ourselves and others to look at India in a very, very positive light. Because if you look at the business scenario all around the world, I think India is one of the few bright spots where everyone is looking at it and everyone knows this is going to be big. But what is holding back are some of the policies in place and some of the regulations which have to be sorted before the players can come and actually really start doing more and more, in India. So that's just my two bits about what I think about the infrastructure and the potential in the country. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert. just a few comments on your various things which you are doing. It's really commendable that you are in multi countries, even in India. It's very nice to know that you are in multi states. And
Yeah.
yes, from whatever you say, yes, you may be having some hiccups in various. Now, what is my own comment is that many times we are guided into some direction in which the rules are there, by which all these headaches need not come. But somewhere I find whenever I gone into depth of some of these things that somebody who has guided into a wrong, so you are trying to do the right thing in a wrong place. Okay, so maybe in whatever way this new understanding can come, we will definitely try to help, because I am personally even coordinating many smart city projects. Since you are in Nagpur, there's one, there are 24 smart cities coming up between Bombay and Nagpur, and that's basically coincidentally by my idea long back. And this may be the largest project in the world, because 24 smart cities across 750 kilometers, nobody has got such a massive projects going. So already the land is acquired. Things are the starting phase. Land is acquired and the construction has just started. But this will be on for next almost 20 years. Okay, and 20 years spreading huge amount of development, because Bombay Nagpur cuts Maharashtra into two places. This itself is called a prosperity corridor. It is called Maharashtra Samriddhi Mahamarg. Samriddhi is word prosperity. So even if anything you want to do, anybody like you wants to do, please be assured that there are people like us. There are many people like us. It's not we alone who are there to help, who are there to get in whatever way support and handhold you. And even for funding, there are a lot of European funds and others who are behind with unbelievably good terms, okay, which are available. And market is opening, like you rightly said. China is becoming a sort of a, you know it is digging its own grave for no reason. Although China is a nice place, Chinese people are good, but somehow their perception of they are going by that jokes which come in comics, where somebody wants to rule the world. So nobody today can rule the world. What we cannot rule our own children, leave alone ruling the world, and that is true any part of the world. So I do not know what gave them the idea that they can rule the world. And from every part of the world, we now know that people want to really get rid. But that's a good opportunity for us. So for India and Australia and people like you who are Indian and Australia, it becomes a huge market. The market which Chinese is ruling, which they could have very nicely developed it into a nice economic game, that they have dug their own grave. So those opportunities are there to come in these smart cities. And the smart city is the multi-dimensional place where you can have smart cities right from a tourism place to an agriculture space to any other space, aerospace to, there are people who are talking to me for building even new satellites. There are people who are talking for building new technologies for solid waste management. They are all, even Australia is very famous for new technologies. So that could be, that is more for Ravi. We could have more academy to academy participation. At least about 100 more big universities are talking to me. Even Policy Times has got a full educational wing, which takes care of almost 200 vice chancellors are in touch one to one with Akram. So they all can bring us into a different dimension, which could secondarily bring business to people like you. People like you would look for business. People like Ravi can catalyze the business, can expand, and ways to bring together. So with that thing, we'll again come in the end for a small your concluding remark. Now coming to Ravi, Ravi has been an extremely well enlightened person. Any country would be happy to have him as their brand ambassador. So he is a brand ambassador for India to Australia, and now he's also brand ambassador for Australia to India. So he now breathes Indo Australia or any other good things for both the countries. He's on that particular wavelength. Now he has been in Australia now for more than 20 years, and he is having this organization called Australia India Business Organization, and in that he has got various aspects. When he means business, what I understand is he considers even sports as business, culture as business, arts as business, and very nicely what he is trying to do. That he's also trying to set up a yoga university in Australia, and I'm sure the huge infrastructure project will come up as it goes forward. Same way, there could be, I do not know whether he'll have a Bharatanatyam class or a Karnataka class or a Sangeet class. university in Australia, which I'm sure others will try to enlighten rather than me enlightening what Australia is good for. So I would welcome Ravi to. He said he's going to have only a short speech. Whatever short, if he can if he can enlighten us, then we will take it forward.
Yep.
Raviji.
Thank you, Dr. Sekhar, Robert, and Akram. And thank you for this great first initiative we have started in this COVID-19 crisis note. I would like to say here, on my view, that there is two pairs in Australia on infrastructure. There is Primeland and Pelligra. They have a trust, and everyone have a trust because of their profile. And I strongly recommend them to come on board to this summit, followed by Pelligra in next summit. And I'm very much impressed the way they are doing it in a very, very collaborative and combined way, that both are doing a fantastic infrastructure. And you know that, see, now, as you, Robert said, in this crisis comes with huge opportunities for society, country, companies, and individuals. At the same time, Australia and India trade relationship requires a long-term perspective and requires a patience, adoption through planning and mutual cooperation strategically. So we need leaders, not managers. So hope we are the great leaders and we can bring the great positive energy, synergy to both the country, and focus on the new thought process, adapting to both cultures. Always remember, form is temporarily, but class is permanent, to say in a sports language. So that is what Australia India Business Organization find who is the best of the best people in Australia. They can suitable for India project. At the same time, Dr. Sekhar is working on tirelessly on Indian side. So you can find out who is the best investors, who can best the joint ventures, whether government or private partnership. And you can bring us a table so that we can sit in negotiations. So AIBO door is always welcome, 24 hours. And we are working on small business, big business, multinational companies. And there is a range of things AIBO is helping. So I'm very proud of that having, and I don't want to take much time. And you all have a productive and people and having a lot of work. And really, I appreciate your efforts to come here and talk to the first web summit. This will take in a not only talker, I'm a doer. And also, I would like to say something in a good news. Just yesterday is confirmed. We are just going to adopt Vanuatu as a sister brother country, and we are also bringing the synergy to take some investors to Vanuatu. Is just is very close to Australia, and we want to help in this crisis moment, and we have to help each other as a team. So we have to build the team like tri-nation country, like India, Australia, Vanuatu. So how we can bring this both synergies, all these three countries, and the Prime Minister today, Mr. Rajendran Bhubadi, is discussing with the group meeting today morning, and they also discussed a lot of things. And soon they are going to appoint me also. Soon you will get the good news in next web summit. So thanks a lot, and I just leave it to the Mr. Sheikh.
Yeah. So AIBO, as Ravi says, will be a very dynamic and would be fulfilling many of the aspirations of India-Australia business people. And on the Australian side, it will be more active. He will try to get the type of people who would be able to do justice for the today's requirement. Now, COVID is something which is yet to be fully tackled. Right from vaccine to a permanent remedy to some post-COVID, some other COVID should not come and attack the world, is something which all of us have to take care. Now, here I would like to have Robert coming back for his expert comments on this post-COVID. How does he see Australia going up? How does he see of course, being an Indian and a global person, how does he see the globe and India going forward? What are the perceptions and what are the realities? Between the perception and reality, all of us know perception means I want to do, reality means I will do. So in reality and perception, everybody wants to be good, but everybody wants to have good results, everybody wants to have something nice happening, but it doesn't happen because everybody wants to win sports, but only one winner. At the top there is no place for the second guy. So if you have to go to a mountain, all of us can climb. There's nothing stopping that only one person can climb. But in sport, there can be only one winner. So various aspects of our business has got can be one, but all other companies can be successful. So how to make it a success? How to make, especially now with this work in home culture coming in picture, does he see a reduction in the infrastructure market? If not, where will the people come? Will there be more houses being built? Because again, second is, you know, even a husband and wife both working mean they would like to have bigger house because both are working from home. They can work from the same room, so they would like to have bigger houses. Now, affordability has been high. Yes, during COVID things have come down, but again it will go high. Okay, because today many problems of prosperity. We go anywhere in the world, we are stuck in a traffic jam. And immediately I say this country is prosperous. Only a prosperous country will have traffic jam. Not prosperous country will not have traffic at all. So same way it depends on which side of the coin we look at it. One which side of the coin and which side of half glass full, half glass empty we see. So infrastructure is going to go through the problem now because with many companies having come out of the offices and relieved themselves of many big buildings they used to occupy and telling everybody to work at home. And now they are finding some good results. Some are tottering back into, their this thing. Will there be a change in the infrastructure industry? What strategy will the infrastructure industry have? But at the same time, now because of COVID, everywhere there's a distancing problem. So today in a bus, if 90 people can go, today only 35 people can go. Same way in any companies also, whatever little they are operating on, one third of the company only can sit in whatever places they had with some X amount of area. Same way, even the houses has to be big. You cannot have a small house with X number of people sitting because everybody needs distancing. Today, the fear which has been put by the experts is that even the right hand is afraid of touching the left hand, thinking that I may spread COVID between the two. You know, I mean, it is something which is ridiculous that today I can't touch my nose or I can't touch my ear or I can't touch my. This is the way we are being taught. But they are reality. They are experts who are talking, so we can't say they are wrong. So we have to follow them even if you don't agree with them. But somebody like me may not agree, but I follow. Okay, if an expert says keep your head up and head down and leg up, we have to do it because expert is saying so. Same way, the infrastructure is going to be one of those which will get affected, positive in some way, negative in some way. I would like Robert to enlighten us and the world through this phenomena. How does he look? How does people like him look? And what
Good question.
Yeah, great question, Dr.
is
Sekhar.
the way forward? Robert, please.
Sure, great question. I think it's as I said, as we all know, these are very strange times, and a lot of I think there's going to be a big change as far as the urban planning is concerned. I think large cities will get decongested. They will be decentralized. Like if you have a look at cities, old cities like Chennai, you look at Mumbai or Hyderabad, they're all very centrally focused. I think time has come where centralization of cities will take place, and we are finding similar sort of trend here. If you look at the eastern coast of Australia, that's where most of the major cities are, whether it's Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Perth. Perth is on the western side, but most of the cities, the large ones, are on the East Coast, but we can clearly see a trend of regional centers picking up the steam. What that means is that people, as you rightly pointed out, we are all sitting in different time zones right now, and we are having a discussion. So pretty much this whole concept of face-to-face meeting has taken a twist. We don't have to be in that same time zone. We don't have to be under the same roof, and we can still conduct business, and life carries on. So we are seeing decentralization of major cities. Regional centers will grow. So I think then it's a question of like, how the infrastructure is developed around these regional center around the regional centers, which are located close to major cities, where population base can move not only for residing but also for their employment. So I think it's the concept which you are involved into, doctor, is pretty much where the world is heading. If there will be 24 smart cities between Mumbai and Nagpur, I think that's exactly what the need is. And I think that is where the trend will be, where a lot of population will move away from these large cities into regional pockets. That's one. Secondly, this idea of, I think, as far as India is concerned, manufacturing will carry on, because that is the need of the hour. Manufacturing also will make the Atmanirbhar, the campaign by Prime Minister Modi, which is self-sufficiency. So manufacturing will carry on. Business parks are required. There will be more requirements of business parks. Obviously, those business parks will require blessings of the government, because that's how manufacturing works. You name it, whether it's China, whether it's Germany, industrial powerhouses of the world, they grow big because they have blessings of the government. What that means is proper tax incentives for the factories. There are incentives for transport. There are incentives for logistics. Unless the government blessings are in place, manufacturing won't take off. It won't happen, and the world is becoming too competitive. So if you look at Germany, you have all the major car manufacturers: Volkswagen, Mercedes, BMW, you name it. So they are growing, and they are they are an important part of the backbone of German economy. And if you look into a little bit in details, you will find that the German government is strongly behind those companies, so that they retain their supremacy. So I think the government of India, which we can clearly see that they are making policy changes, and they really want to promote Make in India campaign. So business parks will be growing. I think the other thing which will take place is the spread of finance-based technology, or fintech. If you last couple of weeks, I think RBI has recorded almost 43% increase in cashless transactions. So, in a way, Modi was trying to discourage use of cash, but I think COVID has made that happen, where a lot of people are now afraid to touch the currency note, and they're using cards and PayPass, using the phone to pay, and transactions are happening. So I think there will be a huge requirement of data centers in India. About 60%, 67% of India's data is still residing overseas, which is kind of a security. It's something which the Indian government is really concerned about. They would like to have the data back in the country. So I think there will be a huge requirements of data center. The other big thing which is going to happen is, obviously it's already happening, which is e-commerce and growth of e-commerce. With shops being shut, the number of e-commerce transactions have quadrupled in last 2 months, which is very encouraging. Which means companies like Amazon, companies like Flipkart, they have to ramp up their operations, which means they have to come up with new distribution centers, more efficient way of getting the products delivered. They are now working towards same day delivery mechanism, where you place an order in the morning, you will get your post by late afternoon. and that is where the trend is happening. So I think with the spread of 4G, and if we all know the success of Geo in India, Reliance, I think the future is for e-commerce, and I think that's going to be a major growth driver for the country.
Thank you, Robert. So, like Robert has enlightened, when the economy starts growing back, maybe there may not be anything like a COVID going out. COVID may stabilize around whatever it is happening. Because COVID is just something invisible, and it has probably attacked it in such a strategic way that both media and the ruling elite of every country has got affected. And that affection has brought everything to a halt. Just a computer says. Yeah, sorry. So now COVID, maybe we have to live with it the way the situation is. So even if you have to live with it, we have to come back. After all, as in some other context I was saying, we human beings consider ourselves as the most intelligent species in this world, or in this globe, or in this universe. Okay. We at least cannot be second to anybody, as we have also grown so heavily in numbers. Today we are almost 7 to 8 billion in numbers. Gone are those days when human beings were less in numbers. So with so much of intelligence, and a single intelligent man can do so many things as per our own Indian philosophy. So we have to find our own way out. Now coming to the ground, what is, as I explained to you, I work on a principle called secured governance. Secured governance is a self-sustained economy. This is applicable for small companies also, but more intelligently applied for the government and the infrastructure and other development. Where secured governance principle, doctrine, or whatever we call it says, is that every system which you are developing has a hidden potential, has a value valuation. When a road is built, it brings huge value around the road. The road maker does not capture the value. So today, all the road makers throughout the world are not doing so well. Whereas they should be the one who should be doing the biggest prosperous people. In secure governance, we capture it so that road maker, road itself comes free because of the people with whom it will be there. So remove the word road by any infrastructure, by a hospital, by a school, by a religious place, or by a tourism place. Everything brings value around that place, but they don't capture it. Okay. So in secure governance, we ensure that that is captured. That in the strategic planning. This Bombay Nagpur is going in that way. In fact, Bombay Nagpur project was conceived some 10 years back. Nothing was going. About 4 years back, I was invited to plan, and I have planned this 24 smart cities. Now, this 24 smart cities, immediately they could get the land. They could not get any land between the two places. Now, full 750 kilometers is 100% is obtained. There's no black magic. The people see prosperity. People immediately see, oh, city is coming. Second aspect of what Robert said, where we are also addressing, and we are addressing many places, is now with the big cities being there. Today, Bombay, Delhi, they would be beautiful places with 8 to 9 million people, and they are a collapsed place with 22 million people. So how much a city can, same thing is happening throughout the world. So many cities are overgrowing itself. An ideal city should be, in my opinion, less than 2 million. Okay. Or which have already grown, it should be around 8 million. Then what do we do? In today's democratic setup, I can't put a barrier around it that nobody can enter. This is one way only. No, we cannot do. So what we are planning, and what many are taking this advice and replanning, is we are building huge number of satellite cities. That means Bombay, Delhi, Chennai, Hyderabad, everything will have a huge number of satellite cities. This is also accepted now. So once the satellite city comes, we are trying to make the satellite cities better than the main cities, so that there will be an incentive to go there. It should not be incentivized by force or by commercial consideration. Commercial consideration should be the ease of living there. A person should be feeling today between Bombay and New Bombay. Anybody would say, "Oh, I am in New Bombay." Means it is a bigger place and good place. Whereas Old Delhi and New Delhi is actually a New Delhi, and Old Delhi is Old Delhi. But New Delhi is a very good place. It is not something where people are shy of. But New Delhi itself has become so big that it should have 20 New Delhis around New Delhi. So this is what we are planning. And where I'm coming from is that gives rise to huge business for people like them, a relevant business, not a dug up business, not a business for the sake of business for the sake of need, business for the sake of market, business for the sake of growth, business for the sake of long-term stability, business to feel that yes, we human beings use our intelligence properly for our own good survival. And of course, with all these things, we should triply ensure that we are green and we are also blue. There are two aspects of blue. One blue is a blue economy, water-based economy. Second blue is a superior form of green, which means we take care of everything along. Even animals, even land, even water, even everything. So that type of a system has to be built in our thought. So with that small introduction, Ravi, you would like to say anything at the last thing before we
I
close the
think
day?
in between, Dr. Shekhar, I want to take two
Yeah,
serious questions that we got from our audience.
yeah,
Sandeep Maheshwari, who is the ex-CEO of L&T, he has asked two questions in our YouTube channel. Australia. So this question is to both of our panelists who are here. Australian Supper has recently signed up with NIIF, but I note that their India existing exposure is much lesser than what they have in China. Do you think it will increase? So Australian Supper has signed an MOU with NIIF, and do you think that there's a chance that their exposure will increase in India? The second question is SMAC and Leighton. These are two Australian companies. They have tried to grow in India, but they have recently scaled down their presence. And so is true with Macquarie. They were doing okay, but they have scaled down too much in India now. What can be the possible reasons for this? I think,
and
Robert,
we have two experts from Australia,
yeah.
maybe Robert.
Yeah, sure.
Robert?
I think, again, a great question. The reason can be many, and I think what I have experienced is it comes down to governance and ease of doing business. Everyone understands the basic logic that India is a great market. It's a big consumer base, and everyone want to try their hands on the Indian market. What is super important is the laws have to be friendly. The court and judicial system has to be very straightforward. And when the systems are in place, things work and things work in a wonderful manner. If you look around the Western countries all around the world or any other developed nation, the reason why they are developed because systems are in place to ensure that we know that things, if there is an agreement, that agreement will hold value, which means that it's bankable. So some of the reforms which are taking place in India at the moment, I think they will really look after these issues which are on ground issues. Clarity of property titles. If we want to buy a piece of land in the in a place in India, there are a lot of documents one has to go through. There are some of the pitfalls which one has to avoid. So I think the country is obviously an emerging market, and the country is on right track, and I think that makes a big difference. I think everything boils down to how welcoming the Indian government is as far as any business player is concerned, and anyone can come. Be it Chinese, be it Americans, anyone should be with open arms. Just welcome business people to come and let them play the game. At the end of the day, there are business people, Macquarie, or you were mentioning some other company names. They have been hugely exposed in China, and the reason why they are in China, because we like it or not, but communist way of working, that for some reasons has given them assurance, and they get the results. So when the land is allocated for a factory, it means that that land will be in place for the factory to start production. A promise is a promise. So I think Communist Party or the communist government has been able to deliver, and I think that delivery is everything. So I think that's where the difference is. But Having said that, I think yes. So policy and some of the reforms which the country is taking right now, I think we are on right track. Thank you.
Thank you. So
Thank you.
even coming to slightly extended, Ravi, would you have any comment on this before I?
Yes, I agree. Rightly well said, Robert. That this is where we need to underpin the issues from India, and hope that India understand the issues now, ongoing issues, and that's why our Prime Minister uh, chosen the India as a trading partner. So our Prime Minister have a fullest faith and trust with India, with the hope that Modi also have a trust with Australia. So Modi and Morrison government both can come bring the this will happen like what Robert said, like China. So we are not competitor, but reason in this crisis we have to bring the synergy what India have and what Australia have. Like see, like looks like Prime Land. Prime Land is doing a fantastic project here, fantastic development here, and they have all prime locations. That's why they name it our Prime Land. Even Peligra also fantastic locations. They have everywhere is locations are there. So, but these companies are very trusted companies in Australia. So one has to deal with trusted companies. So that's where the investor point of view always I think India have a large potential in Australia. So this is the time they have to take the chance, great chance, because Australian government is giving you the warm welcome for the investors, joint ventures, and the Australia can give in a fraction of second everything. So one has to come forward, either government or private investors or public-private government partnership. So I leave this note to Dr. Sekhar and bring the conclusion. Thank you.
See, I'll only give you one small example. Yes, India has got a lot of bureaucratic problems. I'm not trying to say no to it, but they have to be tackled. My own experience was I was the first director for software technology park. I was the one who defined that India will be a superpower in software way back in late 80s. At the time, IBM came to me when IBM was banned in India. Came to me just to sell few computers. Where Australia comes in picture is IBM Australia was controlling IBM India in terms of sale. So I told them that why are you just trying to sell one computer? Why don't you come yourself and set up a factory here? Now they were surprised. They said, how do you are saying that we are banned? I said, do not worry about ban. You come to India for manufacturing, you are welcome. Then I did the help. The directors from Australia came and met me. Today, IBM India is bigger than IBM USA. I mean, I would say in Australia, IBM is very small compared to what is IBM in India. And IBM India is bigger in terms of the number of people, the output, the area. So where the strategy comes in picture is how we tackle. Many of these people, I do not know the actual thing, but some are either they have missed the bus here while starting, or they have made promises which they cannot hold, or they have gone through a wrong route. Okay. Because unfortunately in India, the bureaucracy is at the top, so there is red tapeism. We just cannot this thing. But some are, some of these companies, wherever I have tried to help, I knew that, it is something which is fault on both sides, unintentional by the foreign company, because they do not know that things are. Because I also tell you here, I will not tell the name of the company. One company came for major investment in India, and that was one of the Fortune 100 companies. They came with almost 13 vice presidents to meet me. I said, why so many? This is such a big market, such a vast thing. We want to do this. I said, please leave your documents. They were all false documents. Somebody has really misguided them. And I'm sure if they had not met me, they would have been one of the most frustrated company against India. Because in Indian budget, they are seeing and then trying to plan. I said in Indian budget, 80% is salary budget. How are you just taking it as your product will go in that money? And then they were so thankful when I explained to them that this is not correct. You please, whatever you're talking now is 10 years later, 20 years later. Please don't take that market and just put your money in. You will be drowned. Your company will be drowned. And again, believe me, it's one of the Fortune 100 companies at the time, one of the top 5 companies in the world. So sometimes, we are led in by some this thing. It's just a battle. Not that I'm doubting the credibility of the person who advised them, but somehow they have taken the numbers wrong. So let us be careful and let us ensure that good ones prevail. And certain thing which can be changed are being changed in India. Not that yes, they're changing heavily, but some even now good rules are available, which can be pursued by which you can set up a wholly owned, even an industrial city in India. We can even have an Australian city in all the states. There are rules available for it, by which they can successfully be. So with that, I will conclude because we like to conclude sharp at 3 o'clock. And thank you, Robert. Thank you, Ravi. And I'm sure this will be a good beginning for other colleagues. Please ensure that all of you benefit. This we are not doing anything with any other intention other than bringing India and Australia together. And Akram, he is devoted to a good development for India and whatever countries we talk of. The policy times would like to, whatever policy matters can be there, if you can put it in writing, put it in bullet points. We don't want any formal big letters. We would definitely bring it to the powers that be. But within the powers also, we will guide people on how to, achieve your objective, how to make India and Australia grow, how you all can individually grow. Feel free to be in touch with us. Akram?
Thank you so much, sir. Wonderful discussion. I think, Robert, you want to say something?
I just want to thank you and thank you, Dr. Sekhar, for arranging this. And I'm really passionate about India, and I'm very, very confident that we are on right track. As in, India is on right track. And please feel free to let us know if we can be of any further assistance. Absolutely available. So
thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Robert. What I want to say, when you started, you said India was a golden bird. And truly, India was a golden bird. It was the second largest economy of the world before the British. So during the 200 years of rule, India got into a different country. Now we are recovering from it. So yeah, historically we have to, but now problem is we have to build India. No one will. Whether they are politicians, they are us. Whether they are bureaucrats, they are us. If they are not changing, we have to make them change. Or either we have to force them change, or we have to motivate them, incentivize them to change. But as businessmen don't go anywhere just because they have to go. They go where? Because they have options now. They have Vietnam, they have Bangladesh, they have small countries are giving tougher competition to big ones. So India, we just can't be complacent that we are a large market, we are a big market, so people will come to us. We also have to offer to the business community what we have. And our bureaucracy and politics, we have a wonderful political leadership in the country. And I think this leadership is going to stay here for at least 15 to 50 years coming. And now if that is so, I think this leadership will have a tremendous responsibility on the shoulder to change India. If they can't, then Indians will curse them for the mistake and misery they will put the country. Since last 8 years we have seen, or 6 years that we have seen that how far this existing leadership is successful. They have to do more, and they have to offer the business community more. I think we have to also self-introspect and accept the reality. China has done it. Everywhere, any corner of the world you go, you have to accept the fact that China has conquered everything. And we have everything in our pocket. China has nothing. China, the kind of qualities that we have, we can do what in 10 years, what China has done in 50 years. It is just that we have to realize it, and we have to accept it, and just we have to streamline things. I think this is also one of our responsibility as young minds of this country, to take things in a serious note and really give a direction to the country. I think this will be
absolutely 100% agree with what you just said.
Thank you, Robert. We are dedicated to strengthen India-Australia relation. Not only India-Australia, we will work policy times with Dr. Sekhar. We will work to strengthen India's relation in a true sense with all the promising countries that are rising in the world, whether it is Vietnam, whether it is Bangladesh, whether it is Malaysia, Indonesia, or many other countries will do. I think that's our promise. Thank you, viewers. If you like our program, do subscribe our channel. We will bring similar experts like this. Thank you. Keep watching the policy.
Thank you, Akram. You spot on.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
And we'll do Singapore talks. Thank you, Robert. Wonderful.